Hello everyone, my name is Zeotrax, and today we're doing a review of Miss Marvel. Based off the Marvel comic Miss Marvel, which centers around the character of Miss Marvel. This series is a follow-up to Captain Marvel. No, not that Captain Marvel, that Captain Marvel, which was produced by Marvel Studios as a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is a part of Marvel's Phase 4, and yes, I am finding ways to say Marvel as much Marvel in a sentence. I don't know where this came from. So, okay, Miss Marvel is the 6th live-action MCU show because, it's the 6th live-action MCU show because I just realized that What If still exists. So, it is about Kamala Khan, a Pakistani/Muslim superhero who gains her powers from an ancient Bengal that comes from her great-grandmother and soon finds herself in some cosmic situation, and that's all I can say without spoilers. You know the deals. So, how did I feel about this series? It's getting some really mixed reviews with some genuine criticism, but some criticism are people who are just upset with the fact that this is a Pakistani or Muslim superhero. Which I'm not going to talk about too much about how I feel about that situation. But my thoughts on this show is that they are overall great. I honestly really liked this show a whole lot. It's not for everyone. It's a bit more geared towards kids and teens and does kind of follow the MCU format. A lot of flaws. I will say that there are flaws in this show, but I think it's a really enjoyable series, and everyone is just really likable in this series, which, except for our main villains, which I will get into in a bit, one of my issues with the series. And I don't think the plot and writing are bad by any means. I think all the characters are written great, and the plot is simple enough, but it works, you know? There was, of course, stuff I didn't care for, like the clandestines and that stuff, but nothing wrong with the show. Visually, it's a bit weak at points, mainly a certain character's power in the final episode, but the visual style is great. It's one of the reasons why I was so hooked on this show from that first season, from that first episode, is because like the way they would portray like text, like in windows or in lights, some fun camera movements, like we get camera in the locker. I mentioned a lot of this in my Miss Marvel episode 1 review, but overall I think that those are some of the best parts of the show. It kind of disappears in the middle, but it comes back at the end. It's one of the best parts of this show. Again, there's just no one that you really hate. The main villains are just annoying at best. But the one who's probably the best is Kamala Khan. Iman Vellani is such a damn charming actor, and she is so much fun looking at her behind the scenes and whatnot. She is Kamala Khan, because like it's fun listening to hear her talk about like, oh no, it's not 616 or it's 1999 and all that stuff, because it's like, wow, she is a comic fan, which is something I love about when they get people who are genuine comic fans to do the work of what they are based off of, you know? And Kamala's family is great as well. Her mother it's like, yeah, if you were in that situation with Kamala, you would be annoyed by the mother, but you know the intentions of Kamala's mother. And I honestly really like that with the family dynamic. The Muslim parts of us seeing the Muslim culture are honestly the best parts of the show. Please note, however, I don't know how well the actual culture and all of that was portrayed in this show. From what I'm hearing from people who are also part of the culture, they did it well, but please let me know if they did it right. But I honestly think that the culture, it's great in this show. I think those are some of the best parts where we see everyone interacting, and they do show some negatives with the culture, you know, all that. The trailers did not do the show justice because it made people think it was going to be some cheap teen drama romance story or something like that, but it really wasn't anything like that. There's barely even romance in the show. There's like a few scenes that hint that Kamala Khan has feelings towards a certain character, but other than that, yeah, no, nothing really suggests that this, like, there's no romance, you know, pretty much. Now, the most controversial part of the series, the change to her powers. Me personally, I was a bit kind of disappointed because okay, listen, I didn't know that much about Miss Marvel going into this, except that she was a Marvel fan, she was a Avengers fangirl, and she had stretchy powers. Her power is embiggen. So when I learned that they were changing her powers, I was kind of disappointed. It's like, man, really, you're gonna change her powers? But they do some things with her in the show that kind of make up for it, because I like to think of it as an expansion to her powers. She can still stretch, but it's like with the cosmic stuff. Hold on, I just got a message. So she can still stretch and all of that, but she can also make shields, make rocks for her to jump on, all of that. So it's kind of like that's an extra ability. That's just what I'm thinking of, if that makes sense. Now, I wanted to talk about where the show has been getting review bombed, and now I personally feel like if I ever do, I just feel like that it's not appropriate for me to talk about, because I may be talking about this like some shit where it's like I don't know what I'm talking about and I sound like a bumbling fool. So I will kind of be talking about this somewhere down the line, maybe in like a live stream or something. It'll be brought up, but just letting you know that you will hear my thoughts about this series at one point. Now my biggest issues with the series: the villains, Clandestines and Damage Control as our main villains. They're not that interesting. The Clandestines did feel like real villains, but Damage Control, I don't know how to feel about that. Okay, listen, I was just expecting maybe like a better villain for Kamala to fight at the end. Maybe that certain character that I've been talking about, that she could fight at the end. I honestly, yeah. Also, not an issue with the show, but an issue with this fucking trend. Stop giving us just 6 episodes, please. Listen, why does WandaVision, which in my opinion is a pretty alright show, the first half was the best, but then in the really struggled at the end, get 9 episodes? But shows like fucking Moon Knight, which again, I love Moon Knight, why do they get 6 episodes? And you know, it's like, alright, you either make like longer fucking episodes, like an hour long, or you give us a longer damn series. I hope when we get into phase 5, it really fucking like expands more. I really like fucking hope that like these shows aren't 6 episodes. I just hope that, because I know She-Hulk's gonna be fucking doing this. I know She-Hulk's gonna be doing this. I mean, I Am Groot, that one I can excuse considering what it's gonna be, which I will be doing a review of I Am Groot, by the way. Honestly, I just hope that we fucking get more episodes. But any of that, besides that, Miss Marvel is a fun and entertaining series, but it has its issues for sure. But honestly, it is a great series. Fun, enjoyable, and again, great overall. Miss Marvel gets a B+. So, you know the drill. Sorry that the review was a bit shorter this time. It's just that I kind of, you know, didn't want to ramble off too much. But we are going to get into the spoilers now. And there's nothing in the actual show to spoil, except like there's no major cameos or there's no major plot points or any major characters that die or anything. There's nothing that I can really spoil, mainly the ending. So honestly, despite our lackluster villain, I'm glad they made her more comic accurate with her powers. And my god, when they made her say "embiggen," that was probably the best part of the show. So yeah, on it. But I'm glad we did see her comic accurate powers for a bit, even if it's still the cosmic stuff. But I do have a feeling we're gonna actually see her stretch. So when Bruno goes to talk to Kamala Khan, he's like, "Hey, I found like something weird in your genes, you know, it's like a mutation." So that pretty much confirms that she's our first mutant in the MCU. Not Wanda, not Quicksilver. Professor X doesn't count because he's not from 616 or 1999, whatever the fuck this universe is. People are mixed on this. People like the fact she's a mutant, and people are upset with the fact she's not an Inhuman. Now, me personally, I don't give a shit. Honestly, Inhumans are just not interesting. Like, Black Bolt. That's the only Inhuman I can name. X-Men, Storm, Beast, Storm, Nightcrawler, Polaris, who may be a part of the X-Men? I don't know, I just learned about that character recently. Professor X, Wolverine, Mystique, probably not a part of the X-Men either. Huh. But again, it's like, again, there are more interesting characters than the X-Men. I mean, not the X-Men, the Inhumans. So yeah, and people are getting mad that it's non-comic accurate. Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. The MCU is not based off the fucking comics. They are taking these characters from the comics. There are moments where it is comic accurate, but they are taking these characters and essentially making its own comic line, but in movie form. It's doing their own thing here. They are grabbing these characters and they are making their own storyline with it. I mean, the Mandarin wasn't comic accurate. I mean, Moon Knight was barely comic accurate from what I heard. Mr. Knight was completely changed. We follow Steven and not Mark for most of the time. Steven is British, by the way. Arthur Hollow was completely changed. Jake Lockley isn't Spanish. As far as we know, we barely saw Jake Lockley. But again, there's like so much more. I mean, Layla wasn't even, I don't even think Layla was even a part of the comics. Or like she had the fucking wings and all that. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But honestly, I think having Kamala Khan as a mutant is better in terms of the MCU. Because I mean, people don't really, I mean, you're not going to be able to do, in my opinion, you're not going to be able to do an X-Men and an Inhuman story that well. Because, I mean, they're pretty much the same teams. You know, the Inhumans were created as a way to kind of replace the X-Men, and not that many people liked them, as far as I know. And Kevin Feige's not too much of a fan of the Inhumans either. That Inhumans movie got canceled, turned into a show, pretty bad. And then Black Bolt in the MCU. I just think it's better if we have Kamala be a mutant, you know. But it is going to be pretty devastating when Wanda says, "No more mutants," if she's still alive. I think she's dead. Now that after credits. Honestly, not too much of a big deal, but it was great. It was great to see Carol Danvers again, despite the fact I don't give a shit about her character. But still nice to see her here. I was expecting her to show up in the series, so great to see her. I cannot wait to see Miss Marvel in the Marvels, even though I'm not too much of a big fan of the character of Captain Marvel. And, well, you know, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to talk about with Miss Marvel. Sorry this review was so much more shorter than my other ones that expanded to like 30 minutes and all that. Because, like, I just watched my Obi-Wan review and I trail off a lot. So I want to save some time of mine and kind of just, like, not ramble off too much, you know, and get specific. Just wanted to give my quick thoughts on something. Anyways, this has been Zeotrex. My next review, what comes out in August? yeah, Prey's the next one. Prey is my next review. I hope that I can do that one. Unless when does it come out? It comes out August 5th. So yeah, that is my next review, because after that it's I'm Groot and then She-Hulk, I believe. Am I in a fucking call? No. What the hell was that noise? Anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe. Anyway, see you later.